Hi, it's Sue Greenwald here with Awakened Stories. I'm here today with Deanna Carr with the Mystical Moonlight. Hey, Deanna, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Today's surprise topic is the Hindenburg. All right, so I'm going to summarize what I know about it and jump in there, and just going to have a quick conversation. And I don't know why we're talking about it. I thought it was very interesting, but because
Hmm.
it's not something I think about that often, but I'm told to do it, so here we are.
Yeah.
The Hindenburg, of course, was a dirigible, okay, what we call like a blimp today. And
Hmm.
it originated in Germany. It was a passenger carrying commercial airship. Okay, so they used them to cross the Atlantic, and it could cross in about 3 days. Okay, so what makes the Hindenburg special is that it caught fire in 1937 in New Jersey and 36 people died. And that incident affected the future ways of commercial airline travel. Okay,
Hmm.
because once that accident happened, it was like, oh, we're not going to use dirigibles anymore. We're going to use airplanes. Okay, so that was a big deal. Now, the Hindenburg could cruise at 78 miles an hour, and it could have, probably about 100 passengers. But on the day of the accident, there were only 97 on board. And like I said, 36 died during that accident.
Hmm.
Lots of theories about what happened, but basically it caught on fire and it crashed. Okay, but they
Yeah.
say that the fire was caused by ropes being thrown overboard, dragging along the wet ground, and it caused a spark up above, and it created the fire. And I'm like, I don't think so. Now, one other little neat thing though that I learned is on this occurrence, the Hindenburg was filled with hydrogen, which is very inflammatory, as
Hmm.
opposed to helium. But the U.S. had put a ban on, on anything coming from Germany was restricted because Germany was, Nazi at that point. Okay,
Hmm.
so true story.
Kind of.
Okay,
I mean, obviously, the true part is, I mean, it did blow up,
yeah, people
and
died.
people did die.
Yeah,
So parts of it are accurate,
yeah,
but um, yeah, it's not fully accurate.
okay,
First off, the helium part, um, that was set up. So why would you switch it? Now, of course, they're saying it's because, they don't want anything from there, but they're putting something flammable in. Obviously, it's a high risk. So right off the bat, it's an easy setup.
yeah,
And then, like you said, it's shifting how we're going to use transportation. So it took 3 days. It took ships, I don't know how long, but it was better than probably riding on a ship. And then it was also more luxurious. It was something new. So you have high-end clients going on it. And so this is a big time deal. And you have some people that are on there that have some pull on matters, and all of a sudden they just blow up and
yeah.
die.
Good
So
point.
there's a lot of interesting things.
Good point. So I'm going to make an assumption that only like wealthy people could
Hmm.
fly on these dirigibles at that time in history. I mean, like most of the world was not super wealthy.
Hmm.
They were in survival mode. So this was something reserved for the influencers, the wealthy people.
Yep.
And also, the dirigible was fully booked for the flight back to Germany. Like it was basically going to drop off the passengers, put the new ones on, and then whip over to Germany because there was the coronation of King George of England. So there were a lot of powerful and influential people that were going to go back on the dirigible.
Hmm.
Obviously, they didn't get to go on it because it crashed, but who knows what the true goal was? Maybe the goal was to get these guys on and then have it blow up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, for the most part, the people that were on it, those were the people that they wanted.
yeah.
So they wanted it to go at that time. So it was a setup specifically for that
Those
period.
people. Okay.
Yes. And then They wanted it so that travel wasn't going to be as easy. So usually when you go on ships, you have, a lot of stuff can happen when going on ships. So they wanted to set it up so that you have a forced place to go to. Like you can only go on this. So if they're taking away this easier flying machine that's not going to put you on waves, put you through danger, at most you might fly off course a little bit, but that's about it. So it took the risk away. And so they wanted it to be more of a riskier situation getting to where you want it to be. They wanted it to be hard for people to travel. Now, you talked about airplanes, you know, it was more manageable for people to fly at a certain time. And now they're kind of going back to making sure only wealthier people can. So it's a way that they control the way people can explore the world, they can see other cultures, and then they can see what they're missing out in other cultures.
Ah, okay. So here's the interesting thing. So in the little thing that I read about this, it talked about when the people were going to disembark this dirigible, American Airlines had planes set up there that they were going to take them to another airport to get on their respective flights to go wherever they were going. So
Hmm.
when I saw that name, I'm like, huh, it could be that they're taking out the competition.
Yep.
Sounds like that to me, doesn't it?
Oh,
So,
definitely. Because
yeah,
now look at it. It's like over $1,000 a flight. You're going across the country or going to a different country. It's thousands of dollars a flight. And that
yeah,
might be different, looking at wherever you're going. But for the most part, it's a way that they kept the money in their pocket. Because I mean, who goes on a blimp? Nobody. But why?
yeah, yeah,
Because of this accident. Nobody goes because of this accident.
yeah.
Literally,
Well,
that's the reason.
well, there were like news reporters. This was a big deal back then. So 1937, they had like news guys and cameras and blah, 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 blah.
Hmm.
Well, of course, everyone saw it happen and they were freaking
Yeah.
out with justification. That was a horrible thing,
Yeah.
you know?
But just think about it. You have this one blimp blow up, whole scene. I mean, I couldn't imagine being on it, but you have one blimp blow up. The only time I see blimps is when it's promoting good tires.
Goodyear
That's the
tires.
Goodyear tires. That is the only reason I ever saw a blimp or know what a blimp is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Now, talk about airplanes. There have been so many accidents with airplanes, but we still use them.
yeah, yeah,
Nobody stopped them.
yeah,
So I find it interesting that one thing, yes, it was a traumatic accident, but there have been many flights that have, gone through turbulence and, ended up in a horrible situation.
right, right.
So we're putting all this negative publicity on this one
Yeah,
incident when many of other incidents have happened with other types
yeah,
of even boats.
yeah,
I mean, stuff happens all the time, but that's also hidden too. So
right.
it's very interesting.
So there was definitely sabotage, right?
Hmm.
And then there was probably multiple purposes to basically divert travel to airlines. And
Hmm.
because this accident did end dirigible, like basically transportation.
Yeah,
It changed the shape of transportation.
yeah, it did.
Yeah. Would there be any other reason that this accident was created that you can think of?
Not necessarily. Those are the main ones.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a big deal. So, I was surprised when I read it that, it was a German dirigible. I was like, well, here like nowadays, you freaking go anywhere and you've got ID and you got to prove everything. And way back when these people were coming from freaking Nazi Germany to the US and it was fine. So I
Yeah,
thought that was funny too. So,
yeah. It's kind of like going against like you're telling us it's horrible, but then you guys are accepting it. So
yeah.
it's kind of contradicting.
Exactly. All right. Anything else we need to know about the Hindenburg or the sabotage or the reasons or anything like that that you can
Mm,
think of?
not necessarily.
All
If
right.
people have questions, always ask. Yeah.
Yeah, to me, this is super interesting. I mean, I
Yeah.
suspected this. Like, it doesn't sound like a feasible reason to have a fire, but it's good to hear you confirm it. So,
Yeah.
thanks so much, Deanna. Appreciate your
Of course.
time. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.